To Decision 2024, the dust has settled following the New Hampshire primary, but the GOP presidential picture remains unclear.
Donald Trump and Nikki Haley now turn their attention to other early voting states. NBC 10 political reporter Matt Pritchard is in Manchester with a look ahead.
Nikki Haley didn't get the upset win she was looking for in New Hampshire, but it also wasn't a runaway win for Donald Trump, leaving us a convoluted GOP primary picture as we head into South Carolina. Granite Staters have spoken. And I won't forget. Donald Trump projected to win the first in the nation New Hampshire primary, collecting over 50% of the votes and calling on his lone challenger to drop out of the race.
Let's not have somebody take a victory when she had a very bad night. She had a very bad night.
Those comments quickly turned aside.
This race is far from over.
The former UN ambassador Nikki Haley reassuring supporters and firing back at the 45th president.
With Donald Trump, you have one bout of chaos after another. This court case, that controversy, this tweet, that senior moment. You can't fix Joe Biden's chaos with Republican chaos.
And despite those comments, Republican analysts see challenges for both candidates. Trump's ability to appeal to a broader audience.
His floor could be his ceiling. And if that's the case, even an inept Joe Biden beats him in this election.
While Haley needs to claim a first-place finish.
In order to stay in these races, you have to win somewhere. You have to be able to point to where you've won or places ahead where you think you can win.
Nikki Haley hoping South Carolina will provide that much-needed boost.
We are just getting started. Thank you for the energy.
And even though South Carolina is her home state, there is nothing guaranteed for Nikki Haley. The electorate down there could certainly shift in Donald Trump's direction. A lot to watch for as we go through and try and figure out who will be fighting for your ballot in November. In Manchester, Matt Pritchard, NBC 10 Boston.
All right, she is fresh off of her travels all the way up to Manchester, New Hampshire. That, of course, is NBC 10 Boston political commentator and my at-issue co-host, Sue O'Connell. Sue, Trump's won Iowa and New Hampshire, but in both states, there are some warning signs for his campaign. Take a look. This is what an Associated Press analysis of last night's vote revealed. Haley beat Trump among moderates and independents, two groups anyone who wants to win a general election needs to appeal to. Half of those voters last night said Trump is too extreme to win a general election. And 40% of New Hampshire Republicans say they believe Trump has broken the law. So, Sue, if you're the Trump campaign, how worried would you be seeing numbers like that?
Well, I would and I wouldn't be worried, right? Because there's two issues here. I would not be worried about winning the Republican nomination because, as clearly demonstrated yesterday in New Hampshire's vote, while Republicans may have concerns, they voted for Trump even though they had an alternative in Nikki Haley, someone who voters across the political spectrum chose over Trump, but not in big enough numbers, right? So what Trump probably should be worried about is winning the general election, even against Joe Biden. While Biden will broaden his message from his base, Trump is not going to do that. And Trump has a lot of court dates coming up, and that's not going to help him appeal to independents and other voters who he needs in order to win the general election.
Well, as we heard Pat Griffin say there, if Nikki Haley wants any shot, she's got to start winning some races. You would think she would be looking at the South Carolina primary, her home state, as that first victory. What does she have to do in these coming weeks to finally get over the line?
Well, she really has to campaign like her life depends on it. It's been a bit of a lackluster campaign. In South Carolina, obviously, her home state, it's an open primary state. And that means residents can vote in either the Democratic primary, which is on February 3rd, or on the Republican primary, which is at the end of the month on February 24th. So it doesn't matter what party you're in, but of course you can only vote once. So Haley should really try and build on the success she had in New Hampshire winning independent votes. But as the point has been made, she has got to get more Republicans to vote for her if she has any chance of getting through South Carolina to Super Tuesday, and hopefully, she would think, to get that nomination from the Republicans.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if there is any difference, as I said last night, between northeastern New England conservatives and deep South conservatives. We'll see. Let's move to the Democratic side. Joe Biden appears to be on a clear path to the nomination. Today, he got a big endorsement from the United Auto Workers Union. They represent about 400,000 members. What do you make of the timing here? The union said it was going to withhold its endorsement until the contract dispute with the big three automakers was done. We saw President Biden on the picket line with them. So they've endorsed Biden 3 months earlier than they did in 2020. there any sort of symbolism there? Anything we should read into that?
Yeah, absolutely, Corey. Joe Biden basically, as you noted, has won the Democratic nomination for president. He's now running a general election campaign. And the Biden campaign's ability to successfully address the concerns Americans have about the economy while touting how successful Biden has been at avoiding a recession and controlling inflation, that's going to be the key to his success. And having the Auto Workers Union already on board this early and eager to talk about how Biden supports unions and workers, that's a sign of what the campaign's going to be focusing on as Biden continues this general election campaign, Corey.
Yep, he's going to need him in Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, all the big swing states.
You got it.
Sue, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Remember, here on NBC 10 Boston, we have a recap of all the latest political headlines every single weekend. Coverage starts Sunday with Meet the Press, moderated by Kristen Welker at 10:30. And then you can join Sue and me for At Issue at 11:30. We have a full breakdown of the results of the New Hampshire primary.